Hey Saber fans, this is Grey Paladin, here with another lightsaber installation series, this time with a Crystal Focus 10 soundboard. The CFX is going inside an ultrasabers Empress, inspired by Rey's lightsaber from The Rise of Skywalker. So I've got my hilt, I've got my baggie of parts. Let's dive in and get started, shall we? Before we begin, let's go ahead and go over all of the parts that I have here. So, starting from top to bottom, we have the ultrasabers Empress, and this was the black anodized that I lightly weathered with sandpaper. We're utilizing the KR Sabers NeoPixel hilt adapter with 8 pins. And this came from the saberarmory.com. Have a 16mm dual tactile switch. This came from Darkwolf Sabers. That's going to be controlling a Crystal Focus 10 soundboard. That will be placed onto a Goth 3D all-in-one saber chassis, 1.24 diameter, and this came from the saberarmory.com. It'll be powered by an 18650 lithium-ion battery, 3120 milliamps. This also came from the saberarmory.com. And then we have a 2.1 millimeter recharge port, also from the saberarmory.com. And then we have the 28mm bass speaker. This is the WOW bass speaker. This came from the customsabershop.com. And then we'll be outfitting and making the hilt look a little more authentic with a bandage going around the body of the hilt to try to match Rey's movie saber the best way I can. I might do another wrap outside of that that's a little darker. Might tea dye that brown so that way it's a little darker to try to resemble more of the movie. But this is nice. It's a it sticks to itself. It's self-adhesion, and it's just a from a roll of athletic bandage tape. You know, when you're wrapping it around a wound or something like that, or gauze. Real simple and easy. You can buy this at any convenience or drugstore, and very cheap. So those are all the parts that we're putting into our saber. With any build, before you really get going, you want to make sure that you have all the correct parts and that all the parts fit. So I'll start with the NeoPixel connector. Here I have my 8 pins. I'm going to keep those secured in the bag, but this is the hilt side, so this is where the pins are going to be sticking out, and then this is the back side, where you can see where to solder each of your wires. So then I want to make sure that this fits inside, which it does. So I know that the PCB connector will fit in the housing. Now I want to make sure that the housing fits inside the saber. And it does. Looks like we have a perfect fit there. Yep, fits in there real nice. So now that I know I have that, the next thing I'm going to check is the switch. So with the switch, this is a 16mm 3D printed switch. I'm going to make sure that fits in the hole here. Now that feels snug. That's not going to go down all the way. So knowing that this doesn't fit down all the way, I have two options. I can either widen the hole here or sand down the switch. And I'm going to sand down the switch just to keep the hilt consistent. And it's going to be quicker and easier. I can easily replace the switch. If I damage the hilt, then that cannot be replaced at ease or with or make it cost efficient. So I'm going to sand down the switch here so that it slides in more easily to finish that. So making a mental note of that, sand down the switch so that way that fits properly. Next is the chassis. Chassis fits in there well, slides in nicely, and it looks like I have plenty of thread left there that I can secure my pommel on all of the way. Yep, so that's good. Chassis fits, no worries there. Now I made this mistake when I did my Verso series. I did not check the fitment of the board on the chassis, which is one of the most important things. So let's check that now. This is a CFX board, and this was designed to hold a CFX, and it's a good nice press fit there. That's perfect. So now I know that I can hold and secure the soundboard onto the chassis without needing any tape or glue or anything like that. It's a nice solid press fit. Okay, so we're good to go there. Got my SD card. Remember, do not solder with the SD card in the board. I'm not going to need this until I fire it up for the first time, so I'm going to set this aside for safekeeping. Next, the battery. This is not for a removable battery, so I have to make sure that it fits in this space. In my Verso series, I did use this, attempted to use this chassis, so I already designed and cleaned out the inside to fit a battery. So I know I'm good to go on this, but just for the sake of this video, always make sure that your battery fits in properly. Next, we'll do the recharge port. I would unscrew these pieces here, this nut and washer, because that's going to go on the top side of the port. I'm going to feed the port down through the bottom. Okay, I'm just going to hold my finger there so it doesn't fall out, and then the washer would go on top, and then screw on the nut. And now I know that my recharge port fits perfectly in the chassis. Feed my wires through here in the bottom. So that's good to go. The next thing, or the last thing, will be the speaker. So I'm going to check to make sure that my 28mm speaker fits in the bottom of the chassis. And that is a nice snug snap fit, actually. I don't need this piece here, so I'm going to remove that. There we go. I don't need that. Actually, I don't need this bottom one either. Okay. So that's going to press fit in there very nicely. I may not have to use glue on that because that fits very well. Okay, so with that being done, all my parts fit, and this I already just cut to fit, but I already know that this will wrap around the hilt very well, and I can cut any excess bandage that I don't need. So that's good to go as well. So with knowing that, checking the fitment of all my parts, I'm ready to begin pre-tinning my components and the board.